Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
And I don't even know if there's any connection to all the madness from yesterday.
It does, I think. Well, loose. I can't say like how much of one, right? Connection's a connection, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, shoot, everybody seemed to be involved in something yesterday, by the sounds of it. So,
well, let's. I want to preface this by saying that this conversation needs to remain between the three of us.
it never happened.
This is one of those things that.
Sorry.
Yep, you're good. There's obviously other people in the cabinet that I think are less capable of handling themselves, or it would jeopardize them. Like take Maeve, for example, right? Maeve is great, but I would feel bad with her knowing things when, you know, her significant other is a cop. You know what I mean? I don't want to put her in a position where she has to like be like, do I tell him? Do I not tell him? You know what I mean? That would be unfair to her.
You wouldn't put her in that position. You can just rest assured that she will tell him. She tells him everything, I think.
Yeah. And that's, you know, and I understand that and I respect it. Junior,
troubling though.
Great. I'd rather him continue living in not have to deal with he lives in a very joyous life. You know, I don't want to bring any negativity his way, you know?
Yeah.
But so here's, oof. I got a call from Edgar about 3 months ago. And he started to, he called me something like cousin or some shit like that. And he's like, cousin, you know, like, I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, you know, he's asking me for a gun. He's like, you're the mayor, you know, you can get me a gun. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't really know. I ended up linking him up with Alia Court.
Oh yeah, she was selling lots of stuff out there.
Yes.
She was a known gun trafficker. Or at least I knew of her. I knew her hookup as well.
She ended up getting killed by Edgar. Not once, but apparently twice. This is after she was found. She was working at DOC with Sab around that time. And that's how I met Alia. It was through Sab. Sab's our brother, right? And fucking Alia, I guess, had a gun from DOC on her. And, oh, man. And fucking she panicked as DOC and police were after her. She didn't realize she had the DOC tracker on her. She gets caught with a bunch of guns as she was trying to empty her apartment.
Shit.
Oh no.
Then a raid occurs and they find a weed operation. She freaks out. She thinks she's gonna get killed. I don't know what happens with that, but ultimately somehow this leads to, like, I think Edgar killing her. Whether it was for his own reasons or on behalf of someone else who they're close to me, so I'm not going to say who. But anyways, this is my first interaction with Edgar, and at the time we had so much stress that I didn't have enough time to think about Alia, because Alia was great. Her death, I think, had we not had much on our plate, I probably would have done something about it, you know? Looked into it, found out who it was, etc. Mind you, I didn't know Edgar was behind all of this till much later. I get reapproached by Brandon Valentino. He used to work for me a long time ago. Also worked with someone named Sonia Summers. Also someone that I have a long history with. And
she's from the north, I believe. That's where she used to be, at least.
Yes, that is
I know
correct.
Sonia as well.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
part of a group called like C4, which, mind you, Max was related with. There was a whole thing back then, but a lot of history. But fast forward a little bit, and fucking Edgar is telling me about Brandon calls me and says that his friend Edgar is freaking out about the SEMA legislation. Michael, you might remember it's the thing that we wrote during the Black Plague shit.
The camps.
And so I meet him, and this guy is telling me all about this like Armageddon shit, and he thinks it's a conspiracy, and now he thinks I'm in the Illuminati. I'm like, how do you go from like fucking calling me cousin and me hooking you up to Alia Court, and like, you know what I mean? Like giving you like a boat to be on? Because if it wasn't for Alia, I don't think some of that shit would have rolled out, right? Like, you know what I mean? Because this guy's like looking for people, right, to link up with, like,
Yeah, that's how I met him down in the sewers, and he wanted me to join up with him.
Sorry, one sec. Nino.
What's good, boss man? How you been?
Hey, I've been very good. How about yourself?
I've been good. Everything is put in order right now. There's 2 ones on the dockets. If you want to link up, I can tell you the names and stuff if you need that.
That is perfect. Could you give me a call in an hour and 15 minutes?
Hour and 15? Okay. Let's say 1.5 then, yeah?
Beautiful.
I know you.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. No worries.
All right, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
So now he thinks you're part of the Illuminati.
Yeah, like part of the Illuminati. He doesn't say Illuminati, but that's like how he's like describing it. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this guy smoking? I'm like, no, this is just, you know. And he's very like suspicious. And it's very, for me, it's a very like odd flip, right? Like it's almost like he's forgotten I'm the one that pushed him towards these people, like, to begin with, right? Like, sure, he made his own connections, but like the guy, like you know what I mean? Like anyways, it was fucking insane. I then towards the end of Director Angel's reign, she was asking people on Twitter for someone to kill her. She wanted, you know, she's like, someone please kill me or some shit. Well, someone did it. Someone fucking shot Angel. And while she was in intense surgery, the doctor doing the operation later gave me a call and let me know that he could have ended her life right then and there. And if I had wanted him to do it, he would have done it. I didn't know this guy very much, but he knew a decent bit about me. Whether he was telling the truth or not, it's hard to say. But he led me to getting information on this guy called like the Whisperer, some guy that he was working with. Individual himself was a collector of information, people's names, properties, how they tie together, things that might have been, they were interesting, maybe valuable, whatever. And he needed some like work done. Apparently he was like an ex-FIB. Whole thing about that. But lo and behold, he needed some people. He needed a cop to work with, and he needed another group to work with for information gathering. So I sent Brandon and Edgar his way. Edgar and Brandon, I think, overcooked with him so much that they thought this guy was a snitch. And they said that he went to the police with information that only he would have known. Like, this Whisperer knew something that nobody else would have known about, and they know this for sure. It turns out that this
I know what it
information was
is.
the fucking Armageddon and like nuclear bombs and shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
the
and
problem,
then Edgar had him killed.
yes,
Or killed him himself. I know about that one. That's that's why I was terrified to even tell you what I had been told by Edgar.
yes. The problem is though that this dumb fuck, from the point I met him at the SEMA camps, was going and telling everybody. He told me. Clearly,
I
he
know
told
about
you. You knew about it?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it was all around the city. But here's the
Literally
thing.
around the city, yeah.
Here's the thing. Slacks was the one that was originally talking about fucking Armageddon. Well before whatever fucking shit spread in Edgar's mind. So the notion of like,
we're talking about bunkers on Twatter.
yes.
The day that Edgar told me his story that I should build a bunker myself. It was this stuff was all over the place. He had told the whole city. The story that I was told by people on the street is that basically the reason he had killed that person is because he had gone to the cops. That's the word on the street on that one. Which I don't know if he actually did go to the cops or it was just that Slack started talking about bunkers or whatever, and he assumed dangerously again.
Quince.
Yep. It was a secret not begun by Edgar, and somehow Edgar thought it was his information, and that this very public information that everyone had been talking about outside of Edgar was like leaked. It wasn't. There was nothing. So they fucking killed this poor bastard. Now the thing too is they tried to convince me to get the Whisperer to come out and they could kidnap and kill him. And I'm like, are you guys dumb? Like, why would I put myself out there for you guys? Like, without any information. Like, who are you? Right? And that's when I got like really sus about the way Edgar moves, because he's like a walking faucet. He's the Sky Fae of like the criminal world, right? It's anything around him is gonna get out, and this isn't. It's not, I think, necessarily for like maliciously. I just don't think he remembers things very well, right? And the way he just kind of makes decisions, it's just not my flavor. You know what I mean? I could tell that they were kind of pissed about that, right? Like they expected I needed to do this, and the fact that they couldn't understand why I couldn't was concerning to me, right? That they didn't have that mental, like slim mental aptitude to be like, the mayor being connected to a murder is gonna get, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? I'm gonna go to jail. You can go to jail all you want. Like, anyways, whatever. Fast forward, and now Tilly Winters is telling me that she's been hanging out with Edgar and the 3 Pass guys. At the level of what I would say is like, she sort of described it like she was like a hang-around. And she tells me that they were making her FOIA some report, and they wanted her to use her mayoral keys, cabinet keys, to like open doors in the FIB building. And I'm like, what the fuck? Right? At this stage, this is like someone that you invite to your house and they just start showing up while you're sleeping. You know, like, hey, cousin, I'm in your house now. Fucking, you know, you go down to, you know, you invite some guy over, the neighbor, and you're like, all right, you say good night for the night, and then like the next day you like wake up and they're like eating breakfast in your fucking
Yeah,
I'm
or
like,
you catch
where-
them having a midnight snack
Yeah,
with their head in the fridge.
I'm like, where? Like, because I'm running through his mind. I'm like, where the fuck did Tilly get pulled into? Like, what the fuck is this? And she's telling me that they're asking her to do this like crazy shit. Like, it's so brazen, right? Like, it's so brazen. And I'm like, Tilly, like, so I call up Brandon. I'm like, bro, what do you have Tilly doing? Because Tilly doing it is a reflection on us. Like, you know how much shit we've been through the last 6 months? Like, I was like, what are you doing, brother? Like, what are you pulling her into? Tilly freaked out. She's like, they're gonna fucking kill me. You weren't supposed to tell them. I'm like, it's so serious. And like, ra-da-da-da-da. Like, and she was pissed. Brandon, of course, wasn't gonna do anything. Like, at least, and she doesn't know that, right? She doesn't know Brandon and I's relationship. But she was fucking pissed. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm like, okay, well then just fucking stay away from them if you're like, you know, that scared of them. Like, you know what I mean? You can't be on one hand be like, oh my God, they're gonna kill me, but on the same hand, they're like, all right, cool, I'll use my fucking government keys to open the FIB building. Like, that sounds smart. Let alone the asking her to FOIA, like some shit. Like, first off, I don't know how the fuck they were planning to FOIA anything and why they thought going through Tilly, it's just bozo shit. You know what I mean? And so now I think everything is like done and done with all of them, right? And a month goes by and there was a jailbreak that was taking place. Edgar had killed AK. AK was a part of the guerrillas. The guerrillas were a part of the West Side Alliance. And obviously I've got many connections with them for a long time. Guerrillas were some of the people that were ready to do a lot of things for me if shit got real bad with the marshals. Like,
Yeah, we all got friends like that.
Mm-hmm. And so, based on what Dundee told me, he invited Edgar into the West Side Alliance and he stole a bunch of shit from him. I don't know. Some shit went down. Eventually, AK dies. And based on what I heard from the PD, it sounds like maybe this guy named Billy, maybe, I don't remember the name. He had a massive fucking warrant up. Might have like murked him and he was in jail for it or whatever. There was a huge fucking situation at Bolingbrook. And I was on my way. This is like recent, on my way to Bolingbrook with Tilly to talk to the warden to make sure that he knew that we weren't going to poach all his guys for the court center. All these cops are there. I'm like, oh fuck, whatever. I'm like driving away, and Tilly goes, oh yeah, I was, and we have an idea that Edgar is involved, because of the names, etc. Plus one of the people on the inside that was involved in it told me, but lo and fast forward, Tilly goes, as we're driving away, I'm like, I wonder what the fuck's going on there. I think it's like, wonder if that has to do with Edgar, and she's like, oh my God, yeah, like, you know, we're like texting each other and shit. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, you're just casually in communication with someone that, if caught, is gonna get subpoenaed over a fucking jailbreak. Like, Tilly, what the fuck is going on? I thought you were scared to death. I thought they were gonna fucking kill you. She then goes on to tell me that she took like some blood ritual, like where she poured blood onto like this statue of Mary and like all this other crazy shit. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, do you have any idea what our cabinet has been through over the last 6 months? Like, these fucking pussies in gangs, in a lot of these gangs, they have not been through a fraction of what we had to deal with. And you're just like inviting more problems, right? And she once again was playing this tiptoe of, I'm scared to death of them, but I'm still gonna frolic over and do some psycho shit with them, right? And so I called Brandon and I'm like, listen, you gotta, like, let me see what you've been texting. Like, I need to know whether, like, we're at risk, right? If you get subpoenaed. And she didn't want to do it. Like, she didn't even want to tell me what the texts were. Like, she wanted me to do them, right? Like, I don't know, like at least tell me, like, are you telling me, like, do you know he's in the prison? Has he told you this? Like, is this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is our, like, risk factor here? She didn't want to give any of that information. She literally was just acting like a child. So I ended up calling Brandon, and once again, she freaks out. Oh, we got to drive. Well, we'll go there in a little bit. She freaks out, and because I called Brandon, I'm like, hey, I told her she's got to pick between the cabinet and being the hang around, right? Because I'm not going to take that on, and I'm not going to put the rest of the cabinet through another fucking 3 months of dog shit. And she refused to make a choice. And so I ultimately suspended her. Now, the worst thing about it is after I spoke to her, and she drove off and gets on the phone. She later admits it was with Edgar. Like, she was just lying through her fucking breath. I don't know what her angle was. It was once again, it was like a child that wanted two things, right? She wanted to be in the cabinet and get involved in terrorism. Like, I don't understand. It was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, she was also useful to Edgar as a cabinet member. As we saw that he tried to see about getting FOIAs or having her open up buildings. So
yeah,
that makes sense as well.
Yeah. So
I don't understand why else. Maybe it's just to be close to you to be in the cabinet, because the few times I saw her, she didn't seem to be like really integrated with the cabinet. It was just her love or whatever she had for you that had her going in the cabinet. I might be wrong. I didn't really get to know her. Michael, am I wrong on that?
I feel like she kind of separated over time is the way that I would describe it.
She's always been separated.
Yeah.
It
But
was...
She was more involved early on, but it wasn't as involved as the rest of the cabinet.
She didn't want to make a choice, and I could tell she was making matters worse. And so I suspended her, and she started crashing out. Ultimately, I ended up calling Edgar to set it straight. But this guy, being a dumb fuck, took my transparency as being sus, and he shot me. And I had Flippy on the rooftop shoot the fuck out of him and Jay Hobbs.
Thank God for Flippy.
Hydra then blacked out in a vehicle the next week, picked him up, picked up Sonya, picked up Brandon, picked up someone else, and executed him.
Jesus.
Yeah. And lo and behold, I get a call from Brandon. I go down to visit him, and Sonya, Edgar, and I didn't know Brandon was gonna get hurt, mind you. Miss Combs and Tali Mox started grilling me as to whether I did it, and they knew I did it. They didn't know, because I didn't even know the hit was done yet. You know what I mean? Separately, they were caught up on a rumor about there being a $2 million bounty on Edgar from me. And that's because of some shit I said to Saab and making it all its way to CJ. Cypress, great. But, man, they do not. They overshare. There's other bullshit.
All of Cyprus or north or south? 'Cause That's another meth.
North, I think, is on the leaky side. Not the leaky side. It's not that it's leaky. It's, I think, the problem. Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated than that. The problem is that Edgar, similar to pulling in Tilly, has also pulled in other people's like people into his little circle. So CJ has gotten pulled in. He pulled in AK at one point. I'm trying to think. He's pulled in a lot of people's, like, from every group, he's kind of pulled in somebody, right? And that's kind of complicated things. So, for example, CJ was shot when he was picked up. By the way, keep the hit to yourselves. They, you know, but CJ wasn't supposed to get hurt, but she probably got hurt because she's a fucking person that told Edgar, right? So it went from Sab all the way to CJ, and then to Edgar. But the thing I told Sab was out of just like being pissed and saying some things, and it materialized into, I don't know, it was this fucking shit show. But
Isn't AK dead?
well, yes. So this is like 6 months. I'm trying to, like, you know, keep it as concise as I can, but the long and short of it is, this guy's a psycho. It turns out that Tilly had convinced him that I said that Edgar was gonna kill Tilly, even though Tilly told me Edgar was gonna kill him. So she fucked around and found out. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Also, I had Tilly executed. So
Really?
yeah. Chronic, thank you for the gifted sub. Yeah. I don't think her and I is resolvable because she'll never admit fault. And
Just the fact that she's tried to kill you how many times is a pretty good way of knowing that that's not something you can fix, Nino.
I think some of the stuff between her and I is like contained, if that makes sense. But the problem is that she's got that Blana brain, and she is mixing some serious fucking shit with SBS, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? I don't think she recognizes that her fucking around with FIB buildings and terrorists and like these faceless people and Edgar and all the fucking shit that's been like happening around us into her like thing. Like she, you know, she doesn't know how to like separate those things. So, and because of that, she's too much of a risk. You know what I mean? And so
Max is asking if we're on our way.
oh yeah.
That's,
So pop this bag. Oh, you in?
I'm good, thanks.
So yeah, that's what I've been dealing with the last like
you mentioned a group in the list of people or groups in this faceless. Is that a new gang or something?
I don't know. They like tweet shit. I've been told they're like a
yeah, I've
terrorist
seen it.
organization.
I have that book, Carola, with faces in it. My house.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, is it just another gang?
Wait,
I
what?
have
Or
no
what is
idea.
it? If
Wait,
Nino
what book?
knows?
It's a book with some code, but the code's like, it's like kindergarten shit. It's you hold it up to a mirror and you can read it. And it
You don't
says,
even need to hold it up to a mirror. It's,
No. I have it written in my phone. Hold on.
Well,
It
let me.
says,
Yeah.
those who betray us, a rude awakening is coming. Leakers will be silenced. The faceless sees all. And that was it. There was a picture of
What was it,
San
a
Andreas.
Yeah.
A Polaroid, right. A Polaroid of San Andreas. And that message, like they're out to get leakers, basically.
But the
I found
leakers
it.
are like, it's pretty obvious. Leakers of what?
That's it. Honestly, that's all it says. I found it up at the lumberyard. It was next to
So-
Station 6.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, the people with the fucking AKs and shit, one of them was Brandon. I think he got.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think he was involved in that shit last night. I haven't told anyone that because I don't want heat coming his way. But I don't know. It's